the government-assisted housing in Columbus is occupied by Somalians, and the parking lot is occupied with a whole bunch of brand new cars. And the women walking around have designer purses with EBT cards, and they have Apple iPhones stuck up in their hijabs. Yeah. Come see Columbus, Ohio, fraud investigators. If you go to the government-assisted housing areas, you will find that most of the housing is Somalians. I would say about 80% of the government-assisted housing in Columbus is occupied by Somalians, and the parking lot is occupied with a whole bunch of brand new cars. And the women walking around have designer purses with EBT cards, and they have Apple iPhones stuck up in their hijabs. Yeah. And then go to the businesses that are owned by the men. Because see, what happens is when you have a restaurant or when you have a little corner store and you have a couple of wives and you only have to claim one, then that means the other wives get EBT cards, and you can use those EBT cards to buy food for your store or your restaurant. Yeah. Or what you can do is you can get a home health aid company, and then you only hire Somalians to work the home health aid. And what you do is you just make sure their paperwork looks right. It don't have to be right, but you just make sure it looks right. And then you send them off for those home health aid jobs. Y'all don't want to talk about fraud.
Donald Trump, if you're kicking out Somalis, you have to kick out everyone else. Like, I'm gonna be honest, I'm speaking for all of my African brothers and sisters. If you kick Somalis out, you have to kick all of them out. All of us, we all leave together. Because if you kick us out, you have to kick everyone else. I'm gonna be honest, and I know everyone in the comments, everyone watching this video agrees with me.
So they are outside my house throwing something at my windows. And no, I'm not going to go look out the window and take video and all of that. I'm not going to the window. That's what I think they want me to do, is go to the window. I'm more angry than I am mad, even though my heart is bouncing out my chest. I am angry because that is stupid. And it makes me also concerned because I live in a boarding house, which means there are other women in this house. How do you know exactly which window is mine? Who told you? They got to be in this house to know. And yes, I rent from Muslims, so I don't know if my landlord told somebody which room is mine. But I'm not going to the window. And I'm not going to stop talking. They're trying to intimidate me. I must be telling the truth clearly. If I was making up stuff or if it was a fantasy, folks would have kept scrolling. But I'm not making up stuff. There is fraud in that community. And no, it's probably not everybody. But it's enough of them that they are like Planet Z zombies coming after me. I'm not going to stop talking. Period.
Of existing on the continent. So, the only time that a Somali nomad or a pastoralist, and I have nothing against nomads, the only time he or she will accept to be an African or she or he may instantly turn around from Arab to Africa is if she or he encounters discrimination of identity, denial from that group. And I have seen this in Egypt. I have seen it in Saudi Arabia, and I have seen it in Canada. I'm a Canadian by, naturalization.
Most immigrants, if not all of them, they all fell for the okie doke. Let me tell you why, right? Most immigrants are coming to this country for a better life or to chase the American dream, right? But there's a people in this country who has not experienced that. They've been disenfranchised. They have their communities and their schools defunded. They've been abused by people of authority, police officers, politicians making laws against them for no reason at all, just to fit into the buddy club, right? So if you're an immigrant coming to chase a better life, and you come to this country, and mind you, it's a benefit, it's a win-win situation, because you're going to be able to go to school when you come to this country. You're going to be able to send your children to school. You're going to be able to open businesses and possibly build some kind of wealth you would have never experienced in your home country, right? If you speak to an African American, they're going to tell you something negative. They might get in the way of what the government has planned for you. So the government has been destroying their image to all immigrants, because no matter what, Haitian immigrant, Caribbean immigrant, whatever it may be, Chinese immigrant, Russian immigrant, everyone has been told the same story by who I don't know. The black people, they're lazy, they're violent, they're this and that. When the black people don't even have the ability to tell their own stories, because their image is owned by the media. The media puts them as gang members and drug lords and all kind of things. So they're at the behest of whatever the media says that they are as well. So immigrants come here adopting this mindset that the African Americans are lazy, worthless, and violent. And it's funny because like the white immigrants can't tell the difference between a Caribbean and an African American. So in all reality, they're just against black people, period. And then the Caribbeans is just against the African Americans. And it's funny, I remember when I was growing up, I went to school, junior high school, in a white neighborhood, right? All of my Chinese friends used to always tell me, hey, my parents found out we walk home together, or whatever the case is. You know, I'd be in a lot of trouble. My parents found out that you were smarter than me. I'd be in a lot of trouble. And I'm like, I remember I used to ask them, like, mind you, this is a white neighborhood. Their parents and them live in this white neighborhood. I used to ask them, do your parents work in a black neighborhood? Do they work with black people? These are first generation Chinese people. So they don't. They work in stores and stuff like that. They don't have no career path or nothing like that, but they're still letting their children know, stay away from black people. Don't do nothing with them. How do they know? What interactions do you have with black people? None. But somebody's telling them something. So to wrap it all up though, the immigrants have this bad mindset to African Americans while making money from the African Americans, while being able to enjoy rights that the African Americans fought for, while having their stores in African American communities and black communities, and being able to send their children to school because of them. But yet they fall for the okie doke. While they're benefiting from them, they'll still have a bad mouth against them, saying bad things about them. But we know that that's just like a dissociation, because none of it is true.
Oh yeah, the Somalians have it figured out in Columbus. I went to the Walmart on Georgesville to see if I could see people filling their carts, or just kind of see what I could see. It's not the way they do it. They've got it figured out way better than that. Every single Somali restaurant has a grocery store right next door or within eyeshot of the restaurant. The specific one I went into today had it attached to the restaurant. And wow, what an adventure that was. Stay tuned for more on that. Anyways, the grocery store and the restaurant were the same building. So they don't have to go to a Walmart or a Sam's Club or a Costco necessarily. They can just order everything they need to their grocery store that's right next to or attached to the restaurant that they also own, and never have to fill a single cart. And I guarantee you, if you looked at the records of those grocery stores, they lose tons of money every year, and it's probably used as a tax write-off because those groceries are being funneled into those restaurants, with a daycare center on the opposite side. And that's the common trend you'll see. There's restaurants, grocery stores, and daycare centers, and also home health care businesses. I can't forget the home health care businesses. Nakia was absolutely right. And the reason for the daycare centers I found out while I was at Walmart. 3/4 of the workers I saw working in Walmart, especially the cashiers, were Somali women. You gotta figure, if you have 2 or 3 wives that you don't have to claim, these women can go work at Walmart full time for $15 an hour and still qualify for food stamps, as long as they have a couple kids, which you can guarantee you they at least have 2 kids. Hell, they average 7. Or same story as working as a home health care aide. They have most definitely figured out the system and how to take advantage of it. And Columbus doesn't break down its numbers like Minnesota, but if anything like the 88% of the Somali community is on social services in Columbus, I can only imagine how deep the fraud is. So I'm changing tactics and going back up Monday, and I have a couple ideas to see if I can't sniff a few things out. Thanks for tuning in. Keep it icy.
Africans, we lie a lot as if we know where we're from. Most of us can't tell you 2 generations past where we are from. And I've had the privilege of traveling in Africa a lot as well. And my identity is ubiquitous. Right? Nobody could tell where I'm from by looking at me. When I'm in Nigeria, they think I'm Igbo. I could go to Ghana, they think I'm Ghanaian. The average Gambian may look at me and look at us and say, you don't look Gambian. I'm just African. So, and part of the book is there's a chapter I talk about life as a hyphen where I'm African. I think I'm from the western part of Africa. That's what I identify the strongest with, is my identity as an African. But I have a Gambian cultural background and heritage.
Let me tell you something. People are not jealous of Somalis or Somalia. And Trump is right. That place is a hole. And for one Somali, or quite a few Somalis who've come into my comments after I did my viral video calling out Ilhan Omar, they have the nerve to call my country of Zambia a hole. Well, let me tell you something. People jump easily to go to Zambia, which is a beautiful country. In fact, Donald Trump Jr. was just recently there last month. Yes, he met up with our president, President Hakainde Hichilema, seen here. You can see the picture. He met up with him because Donald Trump Jr. went on a private visit. He went on he was on vacation there, and he met up with our president, and he loves going to Zambia. It's not the first time that he's been out there. If anything ever happened to me and it didn't work out for me to be here, I can comfortably and easily say I'll go home to Zambia and I would make it out there, because there's a lot going on. My country of Zambia has so much potential, but nobody is jealous of Somalis. And Somalis right now, they are pissed off with Africans. They're really pissed off with us because we are not rallying behind them and we're not supporting them. The reason why we are not supporting you Somalis is because y'all are selfish people, you're ungrateful, you're haters, you're racist, you're tribalistic. Nobody wants to be behind you, and you're so standoffish. And the most important thing, y'all have said you're not Africans. You said you're Somalis. You gravitate more towards Arabic, those Arabic countries. So you've distanced yourself from Africans. That is why we don't support you. Nobody wants to support y'all. Y'all are a problem. You're a big problem. You're thieves, you're liars, you're scammers. Nobody trusts you. And a lot of Africans are embarrassed by y'all. They don't even want to associate themselves with you guys. So the feeling is mutual. Y'all don't want to be Africans. We don't want you. We are embarrassed that you are in the African continent because y'all are an embarrassment. Your country is a slumpy, dumpy hole. Nothing is going on there. Nothing. You guys have dilapidated, ruin-like buildings. You've got trash everywhere. Nothing. And the most important thing, why a lot of Africans, they're not riding behind y'all, Somalis, is because when it came to issues like that whole the killing of Christians, you guys have been silent and mum. Why? Because you're fake, evil, cult-like religion. is behind it, killing all those innocent Nigerians. And you would think Ilhan Omar, being a congresswoman trying to speak up on African issues, what is she doing? She said nothing about the subject. Nancy Mace has spoken about it, and she's a congresswoman, an American one at that, like a purebred American one. She's been talking about the issue about Nigeria. Ilhan Omar has not even used her platform. That is why a lot of Africans, they're not supporting y'all. That's why we don't care about Somalis. We don't care about y'all. Y'all fight this one on your own.
So let me just make this very clear, right? Amongst all of the videos that we clear-cut went over and you were able to view, at no point in time, as a Black American, do I find this to be a laughing matter. I am judging and viewing this of the utmost seriousness. You can hear it directly in the tone, hopefully, that's being conveyed. To the Somalians, if you think that this is a time to gloat, this is a time to dance and laugh, you feel like you're really getting the spotlight that you deserve, this is not the spotlight that you want at all. Because while you're doing this back and forth with Black Americans and you're putting a marker, you are highlighting not only just you as whatever content creator you may be, but you're highlighting your group and your community. And you're making a lot of people mad around the United States. You want to specifically, in one angle, you want to talk about Black Americans. You want to say that we're this and that, everything negative. And then instead of saying white Americans, you want to highlight and say Americans. It's crazy how you say that you are American and that this is your home, but you can only seemingly point out and specifically talk about one specific group, while we know the other group that you're talking about, you're not really bold enough to really push it that far because you know better. You know who specifically is in the government. You know who specifically is in the White House. You know who specifically is in the military and the police and so on and so on and so on. So again, you know who it is that you can say something to and who it is that you have to tread very lightly with. And at this current moment in time, last time I checked from a few videos that were filmed by Somalians in their areas, in their communities, you have ICE to worry about this moment in time. And this is why I told people before, instead of focusing in on Black Americans, instead of talking badly and negatively about Black Americans, you all need to be worried about yourselves. Because at the end of the day, all of the laughing, all of the hee-hawing, all of you guys doing this back and forth and whatnot or whatever that you want to do, you have to know at the end of the day that when you guys get deported, we can't. When you guys are going through those situations, we don't. There's a clear-cut difference. Just like how you guys want to make a difference. You want to say that, we got all of these great Somalians here. We got our community and this, that, and the third. Yeah. And Black Americans don't have the problems that you guys have. Clearly. We do not have the same problems at all. Matter of fact, we don't have those same problems because we're not the same people. Right. And also in some instances that I've actually seen online going by the comment section, I've seen Somalians, and maybe I might have put some videos up there, but I've seen Somalians not even call themselves Africans. They wanted to call themselves Arabs. So it's like, what? Do you even know who it is that you are? On one end, you want to say that you're American. In some other ends, you want to say that you're Black, but you're not Black American. We know this. And then on other areas, you want to say, oh, I'm proud to be a Somalian. But then in other areas, you want to say that you're not African. Then in other areas, you want to sit up there and say that, oh, we're Arab. Which one is it? Where you're all over the place at this moment in time. Do you specifically know who it is that you are? Again, I've showcased videos where Somalians wanted to talk about, oh, we know where we're from and our heritage and bloodline and all this other type of stuff. Do you really know? Because even an African who is a comedian, and again, there's some truth in comedy, right? Amongst all of these jokes, there's some truth there, but it's if people want to pay attention to it or not. He's basically stated that Africans be telling bold-faced lies, that they don't actually know their history and where it is that they specifically come from. Because if you look at over time, how a lot of these regions and areas were reclassified, renamed, taken over, retaken over, and all of these things. It's pretty much tough. It just gets to a point where people are just like, okay, whatever it is that we have right now, this is us. This is us. Because none of the people, well, I'm not going to say none. There's a few rare, some of the people on that continent that really know who it is that they are. And those are some of the older tribes that have been here, which I feel like since the earth was first made, right? But again, a lot of the other tribes in areas, those peoples, they're not like that. They don't have that same, grounded information as those other tribes who have been studied, who have all types of wondrous information that people around the world still question to this day and still trying to figure out how it is that they even know or even found out about this information. And they knew about this information before the greatest scientific minds, right? But again, it's so few far and in between. The rest of them, yeah, you guys are pretty much scattered. A lot of you guys have had civil wars, and you guys have had other types of wars. You've been taken over, been colonized, and all of these things. So how can you actually say that you know who it is that you are, realistically? Do you even know your actual original tongue? Because a lot of countries over there in Africa speak in forms of European languages, tongues, which, again, that shows that people have been colonized. And then that goes right back into the video previously that I brought you guys some hours ago, where you saw two African men basically worshiping the ground that Europeans walked directly on. And the crazy part is, it's their ground. It's African soil. And those men were literally stating that, hey, Europeans brought life directly to Africa. Without the Europeans being in Africa, there would be no life. So again, it's crazy to me on one end how Africans want to talk real greasy and real crazy about Black Americans. And then on the other end, I get to watch as Africans literally do everything, bend over backwards, bow, take a knee, lean sideways, in order to appease the exact same people who put you in the circumstances that you are currently in at this moment in time since pretty much the very beginning. And you've allowed this to take place, and you're still allowing it to take place at this moment in time. While then at the same time, you formulating a group, unbeknownst to Black Americans, where you are telling the powers that be, the United States, or whoever is listening, that you represent Black Americans. You represent those who have been taken and gone through the subjugation of slavery. And you're supposedly going to be the head of our reparations? The trillions, trillions of dollars that we are able as a collective to produce? No, we're not doing that. We're not doing that at all. Like I said, a lot of you guys want to pull through, and you want to pull the wool over people's faces, eyes, and you want to try to run off with everything that is valuable. Black Americans are not going to allow you to do that without a fight, and it is going to be a fight. We've had to fight all throughout this country in order for us to survive and make it as long as we have. What's one more? What's one more added directly to the list? But anyways, let me know what you guys think about this video and everything that I stated in the comment description below. And as always, peace, love, and stay tuned for the next video.